The degree of hostility and harm that is being directed against women should shock us into wakefulness. For the sake of a bizarre ideology, women are being deprived of their God-given rights and exposed to life-threatening situations.
Let me just get this straight. In the last few years, a biological male has been named Woman of the Year on several magazine covers. A biological male is referenced as the top-ranking female in our White House. A biological male was named the NCAA Women's Swimmer of the Year. A biological male is making tens of thousands of dollars being the face of womanhood for Nike, for Tampax, for Bud Light, for Kate Spade, and countless other companies. A biological male took home the award for Best Actress at the Golden Globes. Are we really still trying to make the case that feminism supports women when the feminists are completely silent and or cheering on biological men taking over the space of women? Somebody spell this out for me.
I want to focus on two issues. The Christian Post recently featured an article titled, "Biological Male Cyclists Take Top Spots at Women's Cycling Championship." Similar reports of feminized men winning over biological females in athletic contests are becoming a daily occurrence. The participation of trans-identified males in women's sports has become a hot-button issue in American politics. But what does science say? A 2020 study from the British Journal of Sports Medicine found that trans-identified male athletes maintain an advantage over biological female athletes even after 2 years of taking feminizing hormones. Trans women are not women. They are feminized men. 24 states have banned trans-identified males from competing in women's sports at the K-12 level and or the collegiate level. A recent poll of 1,011 adults conducted by Gallup in May found that 69% of respondents believe that trans-identified athletes, quote, should only be allowed to play on teams that match their birth gender, close quotes. Swimmer Riley Gaines and others testified before a House Oversight Subcommittee on the Biden administration's proposed rule changes to Title IX to expand the definition of sexual discrimination to include gender identity. In other words, if you are opposed to biological males playing against females, you are guilty of sexual discrimination. No surprise. The Biden administration is one of the best examples of a reprobate mind as described in Romans 1, a chapter they need to read. They have no excuse. These evil denizens of the progressive left are included in the judgments of the tribulation. They will say to the mountains and rocks, "Fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand?" That's from Revelation 6, verses 16 and 17. Surely the land of the free and the home of the brave is fast becoming the land of the depraved and the home of the cowardly.
They are so disconnected from what's known as source consciousness, which means they do stupid, psychopathic, evil things. They're so lost in their own bewildered, disconnected world, because everything that this force does is an inversion of life. And that's why we live in a world that's full of inversions. People look at the world and they go, "It's freaking mad." Well, everyone else thinks it's not mad, so it must be me. Well, I can tell you, it ain't you. The world is mad. It's insane. But what's happening, although most of the population, the great majority of the population, doesn't want it, they think it's crazy, the authorities are all supporting it, and the corporations are supporting it. And people are losing their jobs for challenging it. Why? Because this global cult that operates through the corporations, through the governments, through the government agencies, is supporting this agenda, whereas the rest of the great majority of the population, they don't want it, but they get it anyway. It's very, very important that people move beyond and expand into asking much bigger questions of the nature of reality, the nature of the I, the very nature of who we are. That's all being put aside.
Before transitioning, when trans women played against biological males, which is what they are, they lost big time. They needed an ego boost and are justifying their self-inflicted madness. A witness who testified in favor of the Title IX rule change included National Women's Law Center President Fatima Graves. She said, "Women have to, quote, learn to lose gracefully," close quotes. Later, Representative James Comer, Republican from Kentucky, cited the remark when speaking to Gaines and added that he thinks it's, quote, a slap in the face to tell a female athlete who worked hard that she just has to accept losing. Gaines said she appreciated Comer's words, and she also clarified that she had lost gracefully throughout her career. Gaines shared several photos. One is of a tattoo on a college student's arm. The tattoo features what appeared to be a person with both a male and female head, as well as breast and male genitalia. How can you see this tattoo on his arm and not think this is a hyper-fetishized and sexualized movement? Gaines asked. She said, "As a Christian, I believe we are all made in the image of God, and this is a mockery of that." For those who don't believe the Bible, they need to remember that gender is marked by chromosomes, not by personal preference. Humans are binary. So-called woke science cannot change that. Secondly, there is another even more dangerous aspect of the left's war on women, and that is mail-order abortion. It is, of course, being promoted by the progressive left as well. Chemical abortions constitute a growing percentage of U.S. abortions. In April of this year, the Biden Food and Drug Administration announced it would refuse to enforce in-person dispensing requirements for mifepristone, the abortion-inducing drug. Without the long-standing safety precaution of visiting a doctor, anyone, not only the woman, but also potential abusers or traffickers, can gain easy access to mail-order abortion pills. Large-scale, peer-reviewed studies have found chemical abortion has a complication rate at least 4 times higher than surgical abortion. While the FDA claims mifepristone is no more dangerous than Tylenol, people don't bleed to death or have dangerous complications when taking Tylenol. Rolling back common sense safety standards is incredibly reckless and dangerous. Because complications associated with chemical abortion increase with each week of pregnancy, and many women underestimate their gestation age, self-administered mail-order abortion puts women in great risk. These dangerous modifications and the refusal to protect Americans from a flood of unvetted immigrants coming across the border only serve to underscore the unavoidable fact that progressives hate Americans. Americans need to work tirelessly to rid our land of the scourge of progressivism.